So today I want to talk to you about how I get things done because I'm juggling multiple things for multiple different areas of my life. Priority number one, of course, me and my family, my husband, taking care of our health. Priority number two, always the writing, unless I'm between books, which I am right now. So I'm doing a lot of more businessy kind of stuff and social media stuff and the videos, etc. Priority number three is, of course, keeping up with all of my friends and family near and far, taking care of them, nurture those relationships. My communities are very important to me, especially in this day and age. I think we need community more now than ever before. And some other priorities are being a volunteer deputy registrar to register voters in the state of Texas, which does not have the ability to register voters online. I love being a volunteer deputy registrar, and I love helping out people figure out how to check their registration in the state, how to help them get registered. It's a beautiful thing and it's a positive thing. That's also time out of my hands that I use somewhere else. I also like to organize trips and travel and do fun things. I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways to do other things, reading, planning. It's my life. Like, I'm a super duper organized person. And also, as part of this year, as I told you in another video, I'm doing life makeover with one of my dearest friends. And we skipped 1 week because it was about journaling. And at this point, she knows she's never going to journal a day in her life. And at this point, I'm already writing so much I'd like journal in my head. So we don't need to do that. So we skipped straight on over to like planning and what are you doing with your time? And it seems odd, but we're weirdly more busy now than I think we've ever been in our lives. Partly because we want to keep busy. We're busy, active women. And she's a grandma and I've got a grand cat and I'm still writing books. So there's just a lot going on. So I manage my time very differently than some people. I tend to like to have lots of different reminders on how to manage my time. And it starts with list making, having a planner. Heck, I've been carrying a planner since before I married my husband. I've always had a little day calendar with me. I planned my whole immigration to the United States of America that way. Like, I literally live and die by the planner. Like, if I don't write it down, if I don't see it, it just doesn't happen. So I'm like, yay, we're on the top 5 priority list, which is like one of my favorite things to do. And I've been doing it for a long time. This particular chapter in the Life Makeover book, which I do have the link in the description section, talks about how to figure out your top 5 priorities, your top 5 yeses. And you can do it for work, you can do it for personal, you can do it for both. When I first did this 20 years ago, I did it for just everything, 5 things per quarter. And that's how I got to become a published author eventually, because I followed that one particular thing every year. And it morphed and it changed as I grew as an author, as I grew as a mother, as I grew in my volunteer activities. Those lists morphed and changed. Eventually, I ended up with 2 lists. And I still do them. I do something every quarter. I go through my list, and I wanted to share some of that with you. Over here is my Kabam board. Call me crazy, but I really do love doing this. It's for every quarter. The pink sheets used to be mostly for editing for that quarter, and then I would pull them down. Right now, it's more about editing my life, like making myself better and stronger, and less about editing books, because that business sort of went during the AI boom. Then the orange sheets are basically my business tasks, some of which have been moved over, I don't know, a million times, because I'm still waiting for the darling career girl to follow through on one particular project I need her to do for me. And this year, I'm going to be very bold in March, after our trip, to let her know I need this done now or I'm farming it out to someone else. It's not a big project. It's something she's already done for me. She just needs to make me a nice little wraparound cover for my Triumph Over Adversity that I wrote, compiled based on my family's history in the Second World War. It's a pretty good book. I'll put the link in the description below. It's about my father's journey, his life in hard times, about my Opa, his father's times in the war and the camps. And it's all these pictures that my wonderful aunt, his sister, drew and did during her time in a concentration camp in Indonesia. So that in and of itself, I really would like to get it in paperback form. It's been out since 2021. So this will be a 5-year anniversary. Plus I'm planning on going to Europe. So anyways, this is all of that. And you can see the blue is basically all personal home tasks. So I moved this stuff down from the quarter down into what's going to happen in the next week. Then the next quarter is empty right now because I've decided to live a little bit more loosey-goosey this year based on numerous things that are happening here and around the world. I don't want to plan too far in advance. I just want to plan quarter to quarter, but I know already that some of the things I was thinking about putting aside based on world events, I've decided I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to be courageous, fearless, and bold and go for it anyways. So that's that little area. Then moving over here, this is where it gets funny because having a Kanban board isn't enough, of course. So this is my planner. This is my desk calendar. And then in my planner, I have all my action steps. I have my habits, everything. I have over here my top 5 priorities for the first quarter of this year. And over here, I have the top 5 priorities for myself, my personal priorities. Over here, I have goals for the year. They're flexible. I use the word flexible on purpose. And then down here, I have my goals as a writer slash author slash supposedly I'm a businesswoman, but here we are. I never got into this gig to be a businesswoman, but I have to be something. Up here are some books that I have published that I keep a hold of. There's my dad pursuing his art. He was a wonderful artist and an architectural engineer. I love that picture of him. So, and then this is my hello author inspiration. So that's how I keep track of everything. So for instance, here I have everything I want to do as an author this year. It's sort of like my weird business plan. I usually check off about, I want to say 90% of what's on there. The quarterly stuff, like I said, the family history is still waiting and waiting and waiting. I have March written next to it because no matter what, it will be done by the end of March. My little desk area, this used to be like for a computer armoire kind of stuff. So it's a hot mess. The house binder is everything. I've had this for every move since we left Knoxville, Tennessee, I believe. And then over here, my family priorities, those are pretty good for this quarter. They're coming together pretty nicely. I want to book a trip to Europe in March. I was gonna hold off, but I've decided to not hold off. So everybody better behave so I can go to Europe. And then this is my health stuff. I don't care if you see it. My main thing is I just want to be positive and proactive about my health. Now, to some people, it might seem excessive to be this organized or have these many lists, but I'm ADHD a little bit. Well, my daughter would say a lot. So I do this mainly so, like I said, if I see it, I will do it. This does not mean, though, that I do everything. Like, the wraparound for the print book that I need to get done has been on my top 5 priority list since last year, since before we went to Europe last year, since January 2025, okay? So not everything has to happen. I remember once a critique partner of mine, she said, well, what do you do if you don't get everything done? Like, well, don't you feel like a failure? And I'm like, no, I just say push it to the next year, or I say it wasn't attainable to begin with. I used to go crazy and do like 5-year, 10-year plans. I'm like, let's get realistic. I may not be here in 10 years. I hope I am, but I may not be. So I just basically do what I can. And I've sort of scaled back a little bit because we are older. The physicist is retired. We're traveling more. So I'm basically kind of living not month to month, but quarter to quarter, and then assessing weekly what can and cannot be done. Also, we have health things going on. We have life things going on like the rest of the world does. So I try very hard to be a little bit more flexible. That is not totally my wheelhouse, the whole loosey-goosey kind of living thing. But I think in this day and age, it pays to be a little bit more loosey-goosey and flexible because you just never know what tomorrow's going to bring. I mean, I even hesitate to schedule out social media posts or anything like that because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. It seems like this whole last year or so has been kind of cuckoo loco. But we're going to get through it and we're going to get things done and we're still going to have fun. So that's kind of how I roll. Like, so even here in my Kanban board, cheers. Do you love my Kanban board? Isn't it pretty? I probably don't even do it right, but I don't care because it works for me. I just like pulling the little sheets off. It's like this little sense of accomplishment, like, bing, I did that. Bing, I did that. And then I throw it into the recycling bin because I'm responsible about the environment. I just really like seeing it, and I like seeing it get done. So there's that. And then over here, my list is basically flexible. Things do move. Like if you look at my planner, which I'll hold it up, I have a little arrow next to newsletter. And the reason is I'm wearing contacts. And for me to do computer work, I need to have on my office glasses, my big black office glasses. So that's not going to happen today because I don't feel like taking my contacts out just to do that one thing. That being said, I have also made a promise to myself to be more consistent about sending out at least one newsletter per month. I don't want to spam people. I don't want to do anything like that, but I do want people to remember that I'm still here. And if you want to subscribe to my newsletter and learn about my books and my sales, that's cool too. It's descriptions. The links are in the descriptions. I have an awesome, fun Pinterest board with all my new clothes that I'm trying on and all my little adventures in clothing with the style book app. So I have all that going on. This is just to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow. My main thing is I just want to be super positive and proactive about my health, physically, spiritually, and mentally. My spiritual journey is different than everybody else's, and we each have our own path to follow. Trust the universe and hope for the best. And I've never been veiled before. Some people say I have a connection. Ha ha ha. We'll see if my connection works. At any rate, that's sort of how I'm rolling, as I'm planning, but less strictly on myself, because I don't want to put myself in a position where I feel like, oh, you failed at achieving that goal, just as my critique partner said, because there are areas where I am definitely weak or weaker. And I'm also a realist. Like, again, even if I had $1 million to throw at advertising to try to get better everything, I still don't know what I do with the money. So we got to go old school. And that's a story for another day. The other thing I have is I do like this, which is something I do every year. I don't know if you can see it. I talked about this before. This is my word for the year: inspire. Inspire creativity, inspire playfulness, inspire change, and to be resilient. This year has, more than anything, I feel like it's important for us to really focus on being a positive influence wherever we can be. Be kind, be aware, know that while not everybody will agree with you about everything, I think we can all agree that being kind and being compassionate and extending that empathy toward others are important qualities to have in this day and age. And I want to be that person no matter what. And also build a community where you feel safe, where you can talk, where you can be honest, where you can laugh, where you can cry, where you can do whatever it is that you need to do to get through those days, and where you can do whatever you can do to have the courage to get up and get out of bed and face that day. I keep busy. I think it's a good thing for me to keep busy. If I'm not busy and I start getting bored, I sometimes get into trouble, but don't tell on me. I sometimes do get into trouble, but I'm trying very hard not to get into trouble this year. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. We have a lot of things planned. We're being very quarter to quarter, month to month about everything, feeling very fortunate to be where we are in our journey in life, but also being very aware that not everybody has even the ability to sit down and plan a planner. Like, that's already a huge privilege. People like, oh, I've got time to make my planner work out for me. That's huge. So I really, 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 really encourage you, if you do have the time to do these things, that's a little thank you to the universe in my mind. And if all your people are doing well and healthy and are strong, that's another thing to be happy about. And for those of you who might be struggling, I'm keeping you without even knowing who you are. I am thinking about you in a compassionate, empathetic way, and hoping that things will get better for you, because things can get better. And finally, I believe that planning for me just makes me able to do more things, more good things, more things in the community. If I know what I'm doing with my time, if I know where I'm putting my priorities of my time, then I actually accomplish more than if I'm scattered to the winds. So I hope this little video helped you think about how you might want to plan. I like Erin Condren planners. They're kind of pricey, but I've been using them since foreverly, and they work for me. This particular format is a new one, and I like it. The Career Girl and I love Erin Condren. A link to that shop online will be in the description as well. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, because I really could use all the ones I could get. Though this is mainly my passion project, and part of my planning world, part of being a planner, is I'm trying to become more visible in the real world, or remain visible and not lose my place in society just because I happen to stop making eggs. So have a good day, everybody.